Hello viewers, welcome to yet another edition of the celebrations of 16 days against gender-based violence, and today is day 12, and today here at Zim Daily I have very special guests that I have, the two of them. They will just introduce themselves just after this short break. Welcome back to our 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And today, as I said before, that is day 12 as we commemorate these special days for us women, men, and everyone who is involved in this. And I mentioned before that today I have special guests in the studio who have joined us. Here is at Zim Daily. My name is Tsitsi P Mashiri. Welcome. You may introduce yourselves.
Okay, greetings everyone. Thank you very much, Tsitsi, for inviting me. My name is Annah Chiedza Diana Kuvheya. I am from Chitungwiza Residents Trust, or Chitrest. I am also the director there. Chitungwiza Residents Trust is a non-political, non-partisan organization that was formed by women, students, residents in Chitungwiza, churches, etc. We advocate for citizens' rights, for accountability, justice, equality, and team values. It's a registered organization that was registered in 2013. I thank you.
You may also introduce yourself.
Greetings to you all. My name is Annah Chiedza Hodhera. I'm a final year student at the University of Zimbabwe. I'm also a member of the Fawezi alumni, and I did my attachment at the Fawezi organization. It's an organization which is called Forum for African Women Educationalists Zimbabwe chapter. So working with this organization and being involved in their engagements, it made me so passionate about girls' empowerment issues and gender-based violence issues. Thank you.
It's so good to have you at Zim Daily today. So we just have to get into it. And Diana, like you mentioned before, that you are a resident trust. You are the director for the resident trust that represent people from Chitungwiza. So we would want to know, because we know that gender-based violence happens in every way. It might not happen in the family. It might not happen at home. It might happen at water points. Everywhere there is gender-based violence. So would you tell us, as you work with the community, what's really happening in terms of gender-based violence?
Okay, thank you very much. Gender-based violence is violation of human rights. It's happening in our communities every day, every time. We are hearing stories. We are actually witnessing some of these violations, especially to women, less to men. So a lot is happening, from boreholes, transport, for seeking transport. Since we don't have combis right now, we are relying on buses. Already it's a problem, especially to women with kids, or even just a woman in general. So a lot is happening in issues of gender-based violence, and we also hope that it won't end in 16 days of commemorating gender-based violence. We hope the awareness is an everyday thing.
365 days.
Yes.
Thank you so much. You can as well tell me, elaborate more as a student, the kind of gender-based violence young girls at school or in your community where you come from, the challenges that you face in terms of GBV.
All right, thank you, Tsitsi. The first challenge that we are encountering is girls at colleges, even in high schools. The problem is there are lecturers or supervisors who take advantage of girls. And for you to excel in a particular subject, we have to align with what they want, and especially it's sexual abuse. So usually you realize that girls will not speak out for themselves because they want to pass, they want that stage to pass. So they will just keep quiet and they will keep it to themselves. Maybe they will speak about it later and at that stage, maybe no
It will be
action
too late.
it will be too late, and no action will actually help them. So they will just be quiet. And some children on attachment, they are encountering problems with their immediate supervisors. They will propose love to them, and if they decline, it means that the assessment will get them poor marks. So for them to get good grades or good passes, they will have to just do as the supervisor wants. And in most cases, you realize that the cases of sexual abuse will result in more serious problems, because these people, they will not want to use protection. They'll just want to get what they want from you. And then maybe they give you the good mark, but then at the end of the day, you realize that the good mark that you got and maybe the diseases that you contract from the process, you will not enjoy the benefits of the good marks in the future. So it's the challenge that we are encountering at colleges. And then going back to the communities, we realize that most girls come from, with the current situation, there is poverty in the country. And some girls, they are forced to go and sell items at shopping points or even at water points in the town or anywhere else where they go to sell their items. You realize that they are exposed to a lot of sexual abuse, even words that may harass them psychologically. So that's the problem that we are encountering. And some of the problems have been indicated by Ms. Diana. Thank you.
This is going to be a great conversation that we're going to have here. And as I said before, to those who have just joined us, this is Zoom Daily, and we are here live as we are discussing on the date call for the 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence. And today in the house, I have a resident, a student, and also a director for a residents trust. So today we'll be discussing more and get deeper to understand what's really happening in the communities. We'll be back just after this short break. Welcome back. This is Zoom Daily, and I said before that today we have special guests who represent the community, and we are going to get deeper to understand what's really happening in the communities. So I will start with you. You mentioned about sextortion, what really happens to students who are on attachment, and as well as problems that you face also in the community. So what at schools, do you have anywhere that you can report if there are these challenges that you might face as a young woman? Is there an office or something else that young girls can report if they face such challenges?
Of course, yes. There is a department where you can go and report, but those systems, they are not made clear. The problem is you just come to the university, you are enrolled, you are told where you go for lectures, you are told where to go for the meals, but you're not even given orientation on how you are going to report in case there is something that has happened to you. And in most cases, a lot of students, they may know, of course, where to go, but as I've said earlier, they don't have the courage, they don't have the valor to speak out because they are scared of the consequences, of which maybe they are, not maybe, but it's actually an empty, they are just empty threats that they are given by lecturers. Let's say you encounter what is actually happening. A lecturer comes to you, he suggests what he wants you to do, and then maybe he gives you empty threats. If you speak out, nothing will actually happen, but there is just that fear which surrounds the whole community. Like the girls are scared. That's the greatest problem that we have. But there are places where they can go and report their abuses.
Okay.
Yes.
Back to you, Diana. As you work also with the residents, I understand that you've been taking the council and also other council workers to the courts just because they've been infringing the rights of people in your community. So how far is it in terms of the government, or would you say the council have been, when we are looking at how people, their stands were demolished, right? And I believe that before they demolished their stands, they're supposed to give them somewhere they would go. So what do you think is really happening?
Okay, thank you very much, Tsitsi. It's true there is a lot of violation of human rights in Chitungwiza. Yes, we have got houses that were demolished. Right now, the case is at High Court. We are still waiting for the ruling. To women, for me as a woman, that was a really disaster, especially during this rainy season. One, there was no court order for demolition. They just came from someone's command and they started demolishing houses. So it's happening in Chitungwiza, and we trust that the court is going to rule on our favor as residents. We have got a violation on access to health. As women, there is no medication in clinics, there is no family planning, tablets, especially during this lockdown. Pregnant women were told that they were not assisted in clinics, in local clinics, or the one hospital that we have got in Chitungwiza. They were told to go somewhere. So they were actually going to houses, which is not good for our health as well, especially giving birth or for treatment. And on that as well, child marriages emerged during lockdown. In Chitungwiza, we don't have a viable industry. We rely on informal trading. While we are selling as residents, we are selling different goods. We survive from hand to mouth. That's where we get that's where we rely as residents 100%. So we had problems with municipal police harassing us. We had demolition of vending stores, which we also stopped at High Court. And what happened at boreholes? There is no water in Chitungwiza. We don't have our own source of water. People are relying on boreholes where they are selling a 20 RTGs, a 20-liter bucket, and the queues are long. So most women are spending hours on borehole queues, which is a violation to our rights. We can't find work. We have to look for kids. We have to cook for husbands. A lot happened during this lockdown because we were spending much time with men in the houses, which was not happening all these days. And with the situation of unpaid care labor, it was a disaster in most houses. We were called violation, men beating women, women beating men. It was happening because they were fighting for the small food that they had. Like what I said before, we don't have a viable industry in Chitungwiza. We rely on selling. And the municipal police were after our goods, after our heads, after we had paid to the council. And in fact, everything is happening in Chitungwiza. And there's no respect for human rights as it is right now. And as the Chitrest, that's what we are fighting for, so that our rights are recognized both by the council, the local government, and the central government.
Let me just get back to you again, Diana. You also mentioned about the human rights being violated by the council and also in terms of these demolitions. But then people then wanted to do some assumptions, especially on the land, especially that one that is near St. Mary's police station, that some of them, they bought those lands for about $20. I don't know if it's true, but then you would want to know if a stand in Chitungwiza costs 4,000, how then can somebody buy a stand for $20? And then also, is it possible that our council will be watching most people are building their houses, and after they finish building, then they come and do the demolitions? Where were they all along? What were they doing? Do you think our council officials or these official offices that we have really care for the people that voted for them into office?
That's my argument. I had a lot of people who were calling me asking why do I defend the residents whose houses were demolished. My question and my query is this: I cannot just wake up and go to court and start defending. Myself and our lawyers, we visited all the listed houses that were meant to be demolished. And what we realized is that most of these people, they are paying at our council. So our worry is this: while they were building these houses, there's no house that can be built in an hour, like what you said, or 2 days. While we've got a councillor in each ward, a councillor is supposed to be manning his or her ward, checking what's going on. So if the councillors, the council officials, the management are not involved in the selling of stands, they are supposed to stop the residents. They are supposed to stop taking their monies. That's my query. So if they want to demolish these houses, first they have to give them a place where there is sewer system, where there are roads, where there is water. Chitungwiza is already failing to regularize Nyatsime and many other houses that live with people living for free. That's why we are not progressing in Chitungwiza, because a lot of corruption is happening. These are the same council that are giving residents these stands, and we cannot allow them to demolish before they compensate them, before they give them on illegal stands. There is no illegal stands in Chitungwiza because they are paying to council. They've got receipts.
Yes. So to you, my sister, I had mentioned about girl rights being also infringed by our what do we call our teachers or anyone. I would want also to know that I understand from your community sometimes we also have shortage of water. In terms of bore, can you talk more what's really happening to young girls, especially at water points?
All right. So what happens is most of the times when there is no water from the council and people have to go to the bowls, and those water points, they are very few in my community where I come from. So people have to stand in very long queues. And sometimes we realize that there are those guys who just have the muscling bodies. They can just the muscular bodies and they can fight and get in front of everyone. So they just say, no, a kiss for a bucket. So girls will just realize that, let me just do
because
this.
I really need water.
They need water and they don't have the time. Maybe they need to go back home to do the chores. They need to go back home, do the homework, do the cleaning. And now you realize that they will just give in. Of course, it may look like their decision is not so valid, but to them, they'll actually think of the consequences of going back home late. Maybe on the road, on their way home, they'll encounter some other abuses at the same time. So it will just be a circle. So there's another challenge of transport where I come from. So some girls, they end up lured by those people who've got cars. They'll just say, no, just kiss me or just hug me.
Because for 3 hours.
Exactly. So that's the problem that the girls in my community are encountering. So they'll just give in. The guy comes, he picks the girl up maybe in the morning. In the evening, when she wants to go back home, she just calls, the guy comes, he picks the girl up, she goes back home on time without any inconveniences. So they just give in for that simple thing. So that's the challenge that we have. So I think in the community, there is a lot more that is happening to the young girls.
But and they do not know what to do about it.
They don't know what to do about it. And as I have said earlier, the fear of speaking out because of the consequences that they perceive, of which most of them, they may not be really real as they think.
That's why now we have a Chitrest. They represent residents. And I remember during COVID-19, when there was shortage of water in Chitungwiza, you did something. I saw some photos or something. What's the word? What was really happening?
Okay, thank you. A shortage of water, it's a day-to-day thing in Chitungwiza. So during the, I think, first week of the lockdown, we took Chitungwiza municipality, Minister of Local Government and Minister of Health to court demanding our right to water. So after that, we had a private company which was bringing water for free for residents. We were actually helping them to identify some places, some wards that are not receiving water for more than 10 to 20 years. So we're taking water there. That was happening, especially during the lockdown. And right now, one of the cases of gender-based violence is caused by poverty and hunger. During the lockdown, we realized that at least 10,000 families in Chitungwiza are in need of food. So we started the COVID-19 Helping Hand initiative, whereby we're sourcing for free food and we're giving them to residents. We also started free porridge for all, whereby myself and some of our members were cooking free porridge, giving to kids. Our target were kids at first, but then later we realized that even adults were bringing in lunch boxes, carrying porridge, taking porridge home, saying that at least they will have something in the morning and afternoon, then they can sort for a meal. So this is the situation. So with all the poverty, unemployment, and everything happening in Chitungwiza, this means that families, they couldn't have peace. They were either fighting for food, fighting for money to buy water, fighting for money to go to clinics. A lot of fights happened, and a lot of violations were done either to men, children, and women as well. So that is the situation that we are. Myself, I am a victim of gender-based violence, and I know the situation when it comes to beatings of women, cheating, etc. So to me, it's something that is personal. That's why as Chitungwiza Residents Trust right now, we are doing awareness campaign in all wards, teaching, training women and men that gender-based violence is not good for our health and families.
This is Zim Daily, and today we are here live as we are commemorating 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and today is Day 12. We have come a long way inviting different kind of guests to share the kind of gender-based violence they face in different sectors. So we'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back to this edition where we are discussing problems faced by students, problems faced by residents in Chitungwiza. And today in the studio, I do have two special guests as we are discussing. And as we mentioned before, we mentioned different kinds of problems that we have. So I will start with you, Diana. What do you think we should do, the office bearers, the residents, and everybody should do to avoid gender-based violence?
Okay, thank you. Like what I said before, that we need awareness and trainings as well. In the case of Chitungwiza, like what I indicated, that poverty, we need a viable industry whereby men and women can work, come back, sustain their families. And also, we also need to share activities at home. We cannot say that women are the ones that are supposed to go and fetch water all the time. Women are the ones that are supposed to cook, look for food, do everything. We need to share these activities. As well as the women's organization, I urge them to continue working or training residents on gender-based violations, so that it's not 16 days of gender-based violence thing in December only. While it's on day-to-day basis, we are having gender-based violence cases in Chitungwiza and other places in the country. So I thank you.
Oh, yes. So what do you think the students should do, that the lecturers should do, so that we avoid gender-based violence, the community leaders as well, especially at water points, and also in terms of transport, so that we make sure that you young girls are not taken advantage of in these times like this?
Firstly, I think the role of the school is to make clear the referral pathways, what girls should do in the event that they encounter such a problem. They should know. It should be part of the orientation. When children come to school, when they get enrolled at the university, whichever university they are enrolled at, it should be part of their orientation that if you encounter abuse, because it is certain that one or two girls will be abused, or even more than the number that I have mentioned. A lot of girls are going to be abused either by the lecturers or by their fellow colleagues. So they will need to know exactly what they should do in case they encounter that. And the referral pathways, they should be strengthened. They should be active. they should be equipped, fully furnished, so that when a child comes with their issue, it is dealt with properly without leaving the child feeling like they've been infringed their right to justice. So I think that is the first thing that needs to be done. And then girls, as Diana has highlighted, they should be encouraged to be open, to speak out, to air out whatever happens. You may think that it's a light issue, but it really needs attention, because if they keep quiet, once they encounter it, it will happen to the next girl. So it's not just doing injustice to yourself, but it's injustice to the rest of the girls. Maybe there are a lot of girls who have not spoken out, but maybe if we encourage those girls who are currently there, or those who are going to come, it will stop the war cycle that was happening. And then on the aspect of transport and water points abuses, I think what needs to be done is the government should provide services properly. Like transport in Timor North, we do not have buses that go to Timor currently. We once had a bus and it was involved in an accident, and now we just have to hustle for our own transport. So it's the government's role to ensure that the citizens have these buses, and we are relying on combis. And maybe sometimes if we board the combis, the police will stop them, and maybe we are in a rush and you'll be stopped maybe for more than 30 minutes, and then you are delayed. So you just opt for those other private cars. And not just the sexual violence will happen. Some people are just being robbed by those private car owners. And that problem, it's a serious problem which needs attention. It's not just Timor North, it's a lot of other places that have got only one bus that goes there. So the government should ensure that they provide service so that they mitigate all these problems that are emanating from poor service provision. I also want to say something about water. The government should make sure that there is water. The council, it should make sure that there is water in all areas. And maybe in the event that the water is not there, then maybe there should be erected some boreholes and some other sources, so that there won't be pressure on those few water points. Yes,
okay.
That's what I think.
And then back to you, Diana. In terms of water, what do you think should be done, especially in Chitungwiza? I understand that Chitungwiza rely on Harare, and yet we have this big view that you own in Harare. So what do you think should be done also for Chitungwiza?
Okay, thank you, Tsitsi. I have written to President Mnangagwa asking for our own source of water. We need the government, like in yesterday, to build our own source of water. We need our own dam. We cannot continue relying on Harare. Harare has got its own problems. Mavuku is not getting water. So you can imagine the cubic of water that we are getting in Chitungwiza with almost 1 million residents. So our own source of water will be a problem. It will be a problem. It will be solved if it's solved the area a bit. And also about the buses issues, we also need more buses in Chitungwiza. Like what my sister indicated, that people are being robbed, people are abused in private cars, because that's the only source that is there. You get a bus after 3 hours, you need to go to work, you need to go and do your business, but there's no transport, so you opt for private cars. So we need more buses in Chitungwiza. Chitungwiza has got 25 wards, we've got less than 10 buses in all 25 wards, so it's a problem. And also, we need our own viable industry. We cannot continue to come and work in Harare, sleeping in Chitungwiza. We are not building Chitungwiza as a town. We need to build our own town with a viable industry. We have got an industrial area that is redundant with nothing. We need our own industry in Chitungwiza, so that we cannot come to Harare. We can build our own roads, we can build our own factories, our children can work there, and we can do something there, not to rely on selling. Like what I said, informal trading in Chitungwiza, it's like cursed because we are harassed day and night. So these are human rights violations that are happening. Some of the human rights violations that are happening in Chitungwiza. Not mentioning the sewer system. We are staying in sewage as I'm speaking. A lot in sewage as I'm speaking, and it's also a violation to our health as well. We don't have medication in clinics. In our one hospital that accommodates millions of residents in Chitungwiza and other places. So we need a sewer system to be rechecked again so that it can accommodate more people, because the one that we have, I understand it was done before I was born. So that's a problem. So we hope that all these problems are going to be solved and you have a free and peaceful Chitungwiza.
Any last words to the viewers who are watching right now and to the residents from Chitungwiza who will feel very happy to hear someone who represents them?
Okay, what I would say is that Chitungwiza, despite all these problems that we are having, Chitungwiza is a peaceful town. Chitungwiza has got potential to grow. So as a director of Chitungwiza Residents Trust, I am inviting all different people that were born in Chitungwiza. We understand Chitungwiza, there are pastors, prophets that came from Chitungwiza, but right now they are staying in town. We are inviting you back home. Come back to Chitungwiza so that we can rebuild Chitungwiza. Especially this time we are seeking for food hampers, different food hampers to help the underprivileged. So we are inviting you to come back to Chitungwiza. Our contacts, you can get them from Tsitsi and contact us anytime. You visit, you come back to our town, we visit different areas, you see the problems that we are facing. I believe together we can rebuild Chitungwiza. I thank you.
Okay, and your last words.
All right, thank you, Tsitsi. My last words maybe to the students at the University of Zimbabwe and all other tertiary institutions, not just tertiary institutions, but all educational institutions. I think we should understand the fact that we are the backbone of the future of the country. We are the future of the country. If we just don't take action to bring gender-based violence at our institutions to an end, it is going to be something that will persist and it will block the futures, the great futures that are being built at the university. So I think we should speak out. Let us speak out. Let us just be bold. Let us be courageous. There's nothing like getting successful because of keeping quiet on these sensitive issues. You will not be happy in your future knowing that I got this distinction out of sleeping with the lecturer. It's not even something that you will take pride in. You just know that maybe I got this because of something which is not straight, so it will not be pleasant. So I would like to say, let us be bold, let us be courageous. And to my fellow colleagues, we have encountered abuse, we have not spoken out. Let us just speak out. It's not too late. Let's speak out and get assisted. It will not it will not come to an end if we don't act. That's the point.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming through today. And this is it. This is Zim Daily. You can also come through if you wish that you can discuss any issue that you're facing in your community. And like I said before, this is day number 12 for the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Interesting discussion that we had today. Students, you should speak up. And then also to those who grew up in Chitungwiza and they have a better life, you can still come back and do something to develop Chitungwiza. And also to the government, you have a lot of work to do to make sure that people have jobs, to make sure that Chitungwiza have water and everything else is sorted out. I want to thank you all for joining me today, and my name is Tsitsi P Mashiri.